The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment was inaugurated in August this year, and today it's a great joy to welcome the first seminar of the Academy. The name Academy of Arts for Enlightenment gives its message. Art is for enlightenment. The highest value of art is to express the enlightenment of the artist and enliven it in the viewer. Art is to uplift, inspire, and refine the mind and feelings for higher states of consciousness. This is Vedic art, art for enlightenment. On the title slide for the seminar, with all the arts represented, literature, painting, music, architecture, audiovisual displays, dance, and more. Now, Dr. Anthony Miles will introduce the seminar. Dr. Anthony Miles is Executive Director of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. He is an administrator of the Global Country of World Peace for the UK, Barbados, and Botswana. He is Director of the Maharshi Peace Palace in Boone, North Carolina, USA, and he is a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts in London, and an interdisciplinary designer.
Jai Gurudev, thank you, Dr. Swan, for hosting this first seminar on Arts for Enlightenment, which we are presenting to celebrate the founding of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. There are many academies or institutions dedicated to specific arts disciplines. We have academies of the visual arts, academies of performing arts, academies of music, and so on. The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment embraces all disciplines of the arts, which is entirely unique in the world today. But most importantly, the Academy connects all disciplines and genres of the arts with their common source in the unified field of natural law, the unbounded self in consciousness. Now, we can do this because we are fortunate to be in possession of the total knowledge of Maharshi Vedic science and technology of transcendental meditation, which gives us access to the unbounded source of all creative expression in consciousness. Just this added value of consciousness provides us with the key to artistic fulfillment, personally, collectively, and culturally. Typically, the various disciplines of the arts are not presented together. But when they are enjoyed together in the light of the unifying value of total knowledge, something wonderful happens. It's like being in a beautiful walled garden with so many different flowers. We enjoy the variety of the individual flowers all the more when they are seen and enjoyed all together in one unified wholeness. However, the Academy goes even further. Because consciousness is the field of total knowledge, and the unified field of all the laws of nature, we can further define the goals of creative expression to include the strengthening of cultural integrity and the creation of world peace. Then the arts become the means to celebrate the full blossoming of life, expressed by Maharshi as heaven on earth. Our speakers today will give us a taste of their disciplines in the light of Maharshi Vedic science in 5-minute presentations. I'm especially honored that Dr. Eike Hartmann, the Minister of Architecture of the Global Country of World Peace, has agreed to participate in this seminar. But before we proceed with our speakers, I would like to present a PowerPoint to give a vision of the scope and application of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment: Creative Excellence Through Higher Consciousness. It's a joy to introduce a new global organization for a new approach to the arts based on the total knowledge of consciousness, Maharshi Vedic science, and technology of transcendental meditation. This presentation introduces the Academy's mission and scope, which aims to fulfill the goals of all artistic expression in individual and collective life. The wide range of artistic expressions is woven into the fabric of our daily lives. At the collective level, the arts contribute to our cultural identity, and they color civilizations through the centuries. It is vital, therefore, that artists everywhere realize their full creative potential for their own personal fulfillment and for the fulfillment of society as a whole. The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment offers total knowledge and experience of unbounded creative intelligence in consciousness, the basis of all artistic expression, which is now available to artists of all genres. Here is an invitation, an offer of knowledge, and a proven technology of consciousness to unfold creative potential, happiness, personal wellness, and peace. The educational approach of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment unfolds the field of total knowledge in the artist's awareness through a process of synthesis and analysis. Each of the arts disciplines are understood and experienced with reference to their source, the field of total knowledge, the unified field of all the laws of nature, the inner self of every artist. The value of total knowledge in the arts cannot be overestimated, because the unfoldment of infinite creativity through total knowledge is the basis to fulfill all desires and realize all possibilities in daily life. The following 5 slides present an overview of the arts, their disciplines and genres. All streams of creative expression contribute to the quality of life, individually, collectively, culturally. We start with the visual arts and the extensive range of crafts. The design disciplines contribute to the quality of life at every level, from the vital field of architecture and environmental design to consumer electronics, fashion, product design, graphic and website design, and so on. The all-pervading influence of music on human life derives from skilled musicians, arrangers, conductors, composers, directors, and producers, as expressed through an array of musical genres. The performing arts are primarily associated with the entertainment and educational fields in terms of theatrical, film, TV, and digital media productions. The writing arts play a vital role in society in the areas of communication, education, and fictional and non-fictional literature, language, and linguistics. Maharishi Vedic science reveals the threefold structure of total knowledge in all disciplines in terms of knower, process of knowing, and known, unfolding full creative potential from within consciousness, enjoying a naturally enriching and rewarding creative process, and maximizing the value and effectiveness of the finished work. These 3 values are enlivened simultaneously through the practice of transcendental meditation. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, founder of Transcendental Meditation, has said, "Art is the skillful expression of life. The artist, constantly utilizing his creative impulses, continues to draw from the reservoir of creativity present in his own being. This is how his consciousness, bathing in the fresh springs of creativity, rises to the prodigious brilliance of natural creation. Exposed to this beautiful process of unfoldment, when an artist opens his awareness to the fullness of creative intelligence within, he draws together the strokes of inspiration and ultimate achievement and enjoys them in the oneness of eternal freedom." Maharishi. The fullness of pure creative intelligence deep within the mind is responsible for the creative process. The first sprouting of ideas and concepts emerge and evolve through the elements, principles, and disciplines, ultimately influencing the field of aesthetics, culture, and the whole collective consciousness. On the right side of the chart, we see how transcendental meditation allows the mind to settle down and arrive at the same unbounded source of all creative inspiration and expression in the oneness of the self, the unified field of natural law. The key to artistic fulfillment, then, lies in the art of self-transcending. Experience of pure consciousness, the unified field, unfolds creative potential in the self. The mind expands, bliss flows, comprehension develops, perception increases, skills blossom, and the artist enjoys increasing waves of fulfillment. Hundreds of scientific studies on the benefits of transcendental meditation have been published over the past 40 years. Some of the valuable benefits of TM for the artist are shown here. TM improves creativity, brain functioning, perception, self-confidence, problem-solving, and verbal and analytical thinking. TM reduces stress, anxiety, depression, substance abuse, high blood pressure, heart attacks, and strokes. TM provides deep rest, a healthier response to stress, faster reaction time, and stability of the autonomic nervous system. The level of consciousness or quality of brain functioning is naturally projected into the artist's work, which is then mirrored in the consciousness of the audience. During TM, the artist's brain becomes optimized, which then elevates the consciousness of the audience. During TM, the brain naturally produces patterns of EEG coherence. EEG coherence is associated with rising intelligence, creativity, memory, alertness, reaction time, moral reasoning, psychological stability, and emotional maturity. Rising consciousness in the arts will naturally strengthen cultural integrity, allowing diverse values to flourish on the ground of an enriching, unifying influence, contributing to world peace. Enlightenment of the fundamentals of cultural integrity and progress in the lives of artists of all genres will inspire a global renaissance in the arts, the blossoming of cultural values, and increasing progress and fulfillment for everyone. Festivals of music and arts will generate waves of bliss in the atmosphere, celebrating cultural integrity, rising world consciousness, and the descent of heaven on earth. Our mission for the arts is supported by the Global Country of World Peace, a consortium of educational organizations in more than 150 countries, working to create a new era of peace, progress, and prosperity in our world family. The Academy operates from facilities on both sides of the Atlantic, Rendlesham, Suffolk in the UK, and Boone, North Carolina in the US. The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment is unique in the world today, embracing all arts, the entire spectrum of the arts, the visual fine arts and crafts, design disciplines, music, performing arts, and writing arts. All knowledge, direct experience of natural law in the self, for full development of creative potential and bliss consciousness. All embracing, creativity in tune with natural law will enlighten the arts, strengthen cultural integrity, and contribute to world peace. And is all available, represented in over 150 countries, through 2,000 centers where transcendental meditation is taught by certified teachers. The Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. For more information, please visit artsforenlightenment.org.
Now we'll hear from Dr. Eike Hartmann, Minister of Architecture of the global country of world peace, who is leading a global reconstruction enterprise utilizing Maharishi Sthapatya Ved principles, Vedic architecture in harmony with natural law. And Dr. Hartman is Senior Advisor at the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment.
Jager Dev, and thank you for inviting me to this seminar of the enlightened artists. It is really a great honor. Now, the term art for enlightenment means that art is or could be a vehicle for enlightenment. It is like an evolutionary means for refining and developing higher states of consciousness. This is interesting, but how does it actually work? Let us investigate what are the mechanics. The main textbook of Vedic architecture, the Manasara Vastu Shastra, it has 70 chapters. 40 are in terms of architecture, and 30 chapters are on artistic items like ornament, sculpture, and painting. The last chapter is special. It is on the chiseling of the eyes of a statue, which means the opening of the eyes of a statue, thereby infusing it with life energy. This is called prana pratishtan, or infusing consciousness into matter. The act of infusing consciousness into matter into the work of art is supposed to be the mechanism that enables art to eventually produce the effect of enlightenment. As the Taittiriya Brahmana says, Atma Sanskritirav Shilpani. Art is nothing but purification and refinement of the self, enlivening both the Atma of the artist and of the viewer. Then art will be expressing perfection, perfect beauty, inducing contemplation and leading towards the ultimate truth. This means that Vedic art emerges from the state of pure consciousness of the artist and leads the viewer of the piece of art back to the self, from the object referral state to the self-referral state of consciousness. Now, Chitra Lakshan, the Sanskrit text on painting, illustrate that principle of transforming the unmanifest into a manifest form by telling the story how the gods were created. After having created all beings and men also, the creator Lord Brahma is said to have painted pictures of the otherwise formless gods, including himself, giving them a form and characteristics for the people to worship them for the benefit of the world. In this context, the word painting denotes the primordial creative process of transforming the unmanifest into form, which is a projection of a conscious thought into time and space. In the same way, Maharishi tells us of an ancient story of an artist painting a bird. There is a saying that the artist was making a picture, and the last point that he touched made the pupil of the eye completely in full attunement with the whole body, and the bird took off. Maharishi says Sthapatya Ved is the art of establishing, even on plain paper. A picture is just made of points. It is all made of points. But each point presents the whole, and each point is significant in its wholeness. One point in the eye can make it look so ugly, or can make it look so holistic, when each point is well related to the whole. Now this is fine art. Fine art is Sthapatya Ved, the same as sculpture and painting, which is part of it. Now suppose we do as Maharaji says. We take a paper and make a point on the paper to begin with. That point could be infinitely small. Then we draw a circle around it, like this. That circle should have no defined dimension. It could be infinitely large. Now there are two infinities reverberating on this paper. The infinity of smallness constantly collapsing into itself, and the ever-expanding infinity of infinity expanding. The reverberating energy between these two infinities is prana, because prana is defined as that which moves. You kind of see that on the paper. But what you do not see is that there is a tiny hole in the paper in the center of that point. That hole is immaterial, neither of the point, nor of the paper, nor the circle. It does not exist by definition, for it is without quality and even beyond consciousness. But it is that through this hole is streaming forth the entire creative potential of totality, total potentiality of everything possible in creation, the unknown source of everything. Correspondingly, it says in the textbook of Vedic architecture, he who knows the secret of the point, he is Stapadi, the master of Stapatya Ved, the master of all arts and architecture. And it explains how from this field of abstraction, architecture creates real structures in space. Now in Stapatya Ved, the center point obviously is defined by the intersection of the center lines. When adding the diagonals, we arrive at a division of 8 sectors. You can see that. It means that the total infinity gets quantified into 8 infinities, which gives rise to the Vedic definition and concept that space has an 8-fold structure. Each one of these 8 areas or celestial regions in space have a different name, quality, and characteristics, which Stapatya Ved then writes into a simple diagram of 8 padas around the central Brahmastan, the place of wholeness. And remember, each square is an area only defined in terms of infinity. Now this is a Vastu Mandala in its kind of compact form. It eventually develops into the full-fledged Vastu Mandala, containing all the Vastu qualities, laws, and functions, which is then used as the underlying blueprint for any Vastu construction, building, town, or development. Now we have explained, in a nutshell, the fundamental process of artistic creation, transformation, and realization, as we have learned from Maharaji, and also we showed how this translates into the science and technology of Vedic architecture. Vastu Vidya of Maharaji Stapatya Ved. Thank you very much, and Jai Gurudev.
And now Dr. Lawrence Sheaf, artist, designer, researcher, and author, who, after 18 years as Maharshi's head designer, has undertaken breakthrough research on Maharshi Vedic science and the visual arts. He is on the Board of Trustees and advisor for the visual arts in the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. Dr. Lawrence Sheaf.
I was originally trained in fine art painting, lithography, and etching. I became a teacher of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's Transcendental Meditation technique in 1971. Working closely with Maharishi for some 18 years, on the design of books, posters, and exhibitions, drew me deeply into the knowledge and experience of absolute bliss consciousness, the inner self of everyone and everything. This knowledge, provided by Maharishi Vedic science and technology, inspired me to re-evaluate the discipline of painting in the light of this complete science of consciousness, this total knowledge of natural law. The practical application of Maharishi Vedic science to the visual arts can only be actualized through the work of a specific individual practicing painter. This, therefore, became my mission as an artist. Documenting the personal experience of the practicing painter is, therefore, vital for the discussion, because without it, no artistic discipline could ever be made complete. My approach was to apply the two most basic themes of Maharishi Vedic science to the visual arts, which are consciousness is all there is and the individual is cosmic, and then record the result in my paintings and books. Applying these two basic paradigms completely transforms the significance of the arts by actualizing the cosmic potential already latent within the very material fabric of every medium of artistic expression. It revealed new foundational principles for the discipline of painting in relation to both its theory and practice. Guided by these two paradigms, my artistic progression gave rise to a series of paintings which I have titled Absolute Image, the Structure of Consciousness in Visual Form. These paintings are all crafted by hand in acrylic on canvas, approximately a meter square. There is no computer work whatsoever involved in their creation. The practical application of the total knowledge of consciousness contained in Maharishi Vedic science to the discipline of painting established in principle the full cosmic potential of all three basic components of artistic expression, which I define as the artist, the art object, and the viewer of art. How is this universal or cosmic level of human development brought about? Peer-reviewed scientific research on Maharishi's Vedic science confirms that its programs have the power to awaken the cosmic level of creativity latent in every individual. This is accomplished through the regular practice of the simple, natural, transcendental meditation technique and its advanced programs. These programs unfold in a natural and effortless way higher states of consciousness in the individual, which culminates in unity consciousness, the ultimate development of human potential. Awakening higher states of consciousness in an artist frees that artist from all limitations. Whether one's work is figurative or abstract, one gains direct access to nature's own cosmic creativity. In turn, the artist spontaneously enlivens that cosmic reality latent in the art object itself, and through the art object sounds an echo of that cosmic reality, absolute bliss consciousness, ever present deep within the heart and mind of the observer. My book, titled 108 Propositions, Mastering the Essence of Form in the Context of Our Visual World, defines these new principles in absolute terms and on a scientific basis, and lays them out systematically in a sequential progression. The establishment of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment by Roger Anthony is very, very timely. It finally provides the much-needed platform for all levels and genres of the arts to rise up together in a mutually enriching way. As artists begin to unfold higher states of consciousness through Maharishi Vedic science, all artistic disciplines will spontaneously rise to their most sublime levels of expression within their cultural setting. The result will be that all levels of the environment will be filled with beauty and harmony so that everyone feels they are enjoying a heavenly life on earth.
Now, Brenda Boozer, mezzo-soprano soloist with the Metropolitan Opera in New York for over a decade, and soloist at the Royal Opera House in the UK, and Paris Opera, and Frankfurt Opera, and Spoleto Festival, Italy, and the Edinburgh Festival, and Santiago, Chile Opera, and soloist with major world orchestras, and Academy of the Arts for Enlightenment Advisor for the Performing Arts, Brenda Boozer.
Thank you. It is a great honor today to be a part of the launch of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. I have ultimate gratitude for Raja Antony and Mother of the Domain Sharon for creating this idea and working so hard and bringing Maharishi's knowledge to us through the arts. I also thank the Maharishi channel and our wonderful host, Peter Swan, whom I have enjoyed so often for so many years. Thank you. I'm an opera singer. I am a performing artist. What is that? When I was 5 years old, I was singing to my dolls, and my grandmother said, "You are going to be an opera singer when you grow up." How did she know that? What was it that was different? How was that known? The unknown to the known. The unmanifest to the manifest. Opera singers are the laws of nature because without any amplification, it is simply the power of the vibration and breath and life force and voice inside of you, inside of your form, inside of your embodiment that projects outward. As art, the root word of art really means a bringing together, a fitting together. And that is what an opera singer is. So no matter where you sing, no matter what opera house in the world that exists, there is no amplification, no artificiality to the human voice. Now, what does that mean for us as performing artists? There must be the equal and opposite. There must be a place inside that is stable with that kind of energy and vitality running through your form. And as Raja Ram has told us from the knowledge of Maharishi, the truth is in the transcendent. It is the place within each of us which is non-changing. And the fourth mandal in the physiology from the Vedic knowledge is stability, solidity. So there must be that place in us. And that is the great beauty and knowledge and wisdom that our wonderful teacher Maharishi has brought to each of us. That place of transcendence within each of us, the place of wholeness, the place of all creativity. And every single human being has that within them, has that capacity. Whether we are performing artists or dancers or painters or whatever, each of us has that artist inside of us. And that's why this fantastic Academy of the Arts is for everyone, is for every human being, is for every Homo sapien. That is our species of 1,600,000 species. It is the Homo sapien that has this prefrontal cortex, that has the capacity for higher judgment, for higher wisdom, from the fight or flight response that is in the relative and pulls at us. But that's why we practice twice a day. We go to that place of non-change. Go to the place of truth. Go to the place of wisdom. Go to the place of all creativity, possibility, joy, the huge artist within which each of us has. The human voice, 8 billion people approximately in the world, and the human voice, each human voice has its own timbre. That means we're unique, we're necessary in the fabric of life and fabric of all that is possible to live 150 to 200% of life. My gratitude that we all woke up today, that we all have this potential. So with excitement and joy and compassion and desire for each of us to go where it's possible in the transcendent. Jai Gurudev.
Peter Westbrook, PhD, musicologist, flutist, saxophonist, editor-in-chief at flutejournal.com, director, Harmonia Communications, founding faculty member, Maharishi International University, Iowa, USA, former director, Maharishi Gandharva School of Music, Washington, D.C., author and lecturer and Academy of Arts for Enlightenment advisor. Peter Westbrook.
Throughout history, music has been a fundamental constituent of human life and culture. According to Alain Danilou, music was justly considered by the ancients as the key to all sciences and arts, through which the universal laws and their multiple applications could be understood. Recently, however, attempts to account for this phenomenon have proved far less satisfying. Quote, "Today we consume music in greater quantities than any previous generation," writes Victor Zucker-Kendall, "but we no longer know how to read what stands written. We have forgotten the meaning of the characters." Maharishi agrees with this. "This is not a good time for the arts," he told me. "People just want to be excited." However, in a talk he gave in 1972, Maharishi provided a completely fresh perspective on this. He said, "Music is the flow of consciousness, the expression of the flow of life. The whole phenomenon of the creation of music resembles the phenomenon of creation of the individual life in the wholeness of eternal being. That is why music is dear to everyone." End quote. And another beautiful tape, Maharishi goes even more deeply into this. I hope that we will have that posted to the Academy of Arts and Enlightenment website very soon. Later, in the first MIU catalog, Maharishi wrote, "Everyone finds a tremendous appeal in music because music arises from so fundamental a source that it is parallel to the structure of life and to that of the cosmos as a whole." Following up on this idea, I was astonished to find not only that it had found expression elsewhere, but that our modern Western culture has been the only developed civilization that has not held such ideas about music. I found it in ancient Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, and Jewish sources, and known as the music of the spheres, it's one of the great themes at the core of Western thought. There have been isolated individuals in recent years who have hinted at this. Beethoven declared music to be a higher revelation than all of wisdom and all of philosophy. And Albert Einstein claimed that his theories were the result of musical perception. And the great Sufi musician Saint Hazrat Inayat Khan considered music to be divine, quote, "because it is the exact miniature of the law working through the whole universe," unquote. Overall, however, in the modern world, such insights have been the exception rather than the rule. Now, however, Maharishi has revived this inspiring ancient tradition, providing not only beautiful insights into music, but also the total knowledge that allows us to gain complete understanding of this and similar phenomena. The reason for our impoverished understanding of music, of all the arts in fact, is the worldview based on the idea proposed by René Descartes in the 17th century that the subjective and objective realms of life are completely separate. This has given us the benefits of science, but it has rendered impossible a real understanding of anything that equally embraces subjectivity and objectivity, consciousness and the world. So it is that physicist Eugene Wigner was puzzled by the, quote, unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics in the physical sciences. And musicologist David Epstein finds, quote, it is curious that tonal music eludes our comprehension on many levels. Maharishi's insight resolves these problems. Maharishi's Vedic science provides not only a comprehensive description of consciousness and the physical world, but provides techniques which enable the direct experience of the physical universe as the fluctuations and interactions of pure consciousness. So it is that in his exposition of music, Maharishi finds the same structures and processes as exist in the manifestation of the physical creation itself from its source in the unified field. Processes symbolically represented by the figure of Saraswati, whose name in Sanskrit means the flow of consciousness within itself, and who presides over both music and total knowledge. It is from this level that we should pursue both the art and the science of music. It is from this level that we will present courses in music at the Academy of Arts and Enlightenment.
Jacqueline Carr Phillips, researcher in Russian literature, Athens Institute, British Association for Slavonic and East European Studies, and Cambridge University Russian Society. Former Executive Board Member, Maharishi Peace Palace, Suffolk, UK, and Academy of Arts for Enlightenment Advisor for Russian Literature, Jacqueline Carr Phillips.
Literature and consciousness expressing the full range of life. So this is an introduction to Maharishi's thinking on literature and how the reading of it can expand consciousness. And I'll be giving some examples from Russian literature to illustrate Maharishi's points. But just to emphasize that even though I'll be focusing on Russian literature, Maharishi's points apply to all literatures as each arises from the field of pure creative intelligence. In other words, Russian literature has a universal basis and expression from both the transcendental field and more surface levels without losing its essential Russianness. The book, The Flow of Consciousness, a selection of Maharishi's talks on literature and language, has been most inspirational for me, forming the basis of knowledge for the course I'm developing on Russian literature and consciousness. Maharishi emphasized that the practice of the technology of transcendental meditation and its advanced programs enhances the experience of reading literature as consciousness becomes more expanded, enabling a deeper comprehension on all levels of the reading process. An aspect in literature that Maharishi highlights are contrasts. These repeated contrasts, ranging from the surface level to the transcendent, culture and refine the reader's intellect, emotions, and whole personality, which Maharishi says can even help to develop higher states of consciousness. For example, in Tolstoy's War and Peace, there are constant contrasts, including the title itself and a theme that continues throughout the book. The following quote from Maharishi is appropriate to Tolstoy's writing. Often in a good literary piece, there are great contrasts coming up at every moment. There is the transcendental value, and simultaneously there are boundaries, presenting two contrasting values. In this, the writer has conveyed the entire story of life to the reader, and with this comes that fast pace of evolution. To give an example from War and Peace, a major character in the story, Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, was seriously injured in battle. When he fell, still conscious, the battle receded into the background, and he didn't see anything except, to quote from War and Peace, "The sky, the infinite lofty sky, immeasurably infinite, how quiet and calm, not at all like when I was running, shouting and fighting. How is it I haven't seen this before? And how happy I am that I've finally come to know it. There is nothing, nothing except that. There is not even that. There is nothing except silence, tranquility." The contrast he experiences after the horrors of battle is a wonderful example of this swinging back and forth from tragedy to sublimity that Maharishi describes as being conducive to developing a fast pace of evolution. In the flow of consciousness, Maharishi discusses how even a tragedy is a passage of evolution. If there's a peaceful ending, such as this example from War and Peace, the contrast, Maharishi says, is beautiful and exalting, and is on the basis of transcending the violence of the situation. The contrasts are just one of many examples of the evolutionary value of literature that Maharishi highlights, and how the reading of literature can help to develop higher states of consciousness. It's such an exciting and fulfilling opportunity to be able to present my work on the platform of the AAE and to convey the joy of literature in the context of Maharishi's Vedic science. But it's not just that, the opportunity to have all the arts presented together, connected to the common ground of consciousness collectively, ultimately contributing to cultural integrity and world peace. But I'm really impressed with how the Academy has been set up in such a short time, and how it's rapidly moving forward with great interest from many fields in the arts. Very exciting. Jai Gurudev.
David Orme Johnson, PhD, Professor Emeritus of Psychology at Maharishi International University, lead author on the first study to show that EEG signature of the TM technique was correlated with creativity, intelligence, and higher states of consciousness. Prominent researcher, author, and artist. David Orme Johnson.
Hi, I'm David Orme Johnson, and this is my painting here. You may know me as a scientist, and that's mainly what I've been doing. But today, I have the joy of talking about science and art. So let me get right to my slides and tell you some of the research that's been done on transcendental meditation and creativity. Okay, so this is my talk. And creativity is well understood to have 5 different stages. And TM is effective in improving every one of the stages. First, you have to prepare, you immerse yourself in the domain, whatever you're interested in. If you're going to paint portraits, you study that. And TM has been shown to improve attention and learning and ability. Then there's an incubation phase in which the person's information that they've gathered in the preparation phase churns in the subconscious mind. And TM produces a state of restful alertness and a part of the brain called default mode network, which puts things together largely subconsciously. And it's really a great boon to creativity. That's where creativity comes from. And then there's the insight moment, and that's the aha moment during periods of rest in which the mind transcends to a most integrated state, and then the creativity comes out of that. And then afterwards, one has to evaluate the idea. Is it really a good idea? Is it a new idea? Is it useful? And TM increases broad comprehension, ability to focus, which allows you to evaluate better. And then there's the elaboration. You know, you have to work out the implications of the whole thing. So Maharishi says that transcending thought is infinitely more valuable than thinking. And when we transcend, as shown by this familiar bubble diagram, going from the active conscious thinking down to the silent mind during TM, it produces a particular brain wave, which is different from what you see in other kinds of meditation, focused attention, open monitoring, which don't take you to that deep level, like TM, don't produce the same effects on the brain. And what are those effects on the brain? You can see here in this illustration with eyes open. This is looking at the head from the front on the top above it. And some of the different areas on the head are connected by the EEG being at the same frequency, the same phase in each part of the brain, meaning those areas of the brain are working together. When you close your eyes, more areas get connected. But during TM practice, you see this connectivity across the brain, as global integration. And this is where the big, deep insights come from, when all the different faculties of the brain, memory, perception, feelings, intellect, all experience, past experience, come together, and then they converge onto the creative idea. And here's results of a study on the default mode network, which I mentioned. This is the network in the brain that works in a self-referral level. If you ask somebody what they think about themselves or to describe themselves, that part of the brain becomes active. It's like the brain system is related to the self. And only TM increases activity in this self-referral mode. All other meditation techniques decrease default mode activity. And the research shows that the brain coherence that we measure during TM, which is specifically dominant in the front part of the brain, which is the executive part of the brain, which is the boss, you can say, of all the rest of the brain, integrates and coordinates the rest of the brain, becomes very coherent in a particular frequency, which is called alpha 1, which is 8 or 9 cycles per second. And that coherence and that frequency has been correlated with a wide range of different cognitive functions, including increased creativity, increased intelligence, increased moral reasoning, increased grade point average, and decreased anxiety, decreased neuroticism. So this integration of brain functioning created by TM is very powerful for not only integrating our different thought processes, but also our feelings and emotions. And it sounds like my time has run out. And research has shown that when you, a very good study on over 300 subjects, and random controlled and compared with other techniques, showed that TM was particularly strong on increasing creativity. And the test was a visual creativity, coming up with original ideas visually, which I thought was very interesting. But it also increases practical intelligence, field independence, mental efficiency, and fluid intelligence. And so in conclusion, TM increases brain integration, and that's really the basis of creativity. And I have to say, I've enjoyed it in my life. Currently, I paint, I go down on the beach and I do little paintings and have a really great time. So that's my talk on TM and the research in creativity in 5 minutes.
Anna Bonchek, PhD, Professor of Art, Maharishi Vedic Research Institute, Australia, Vedic Architecture Consultant, Maharishi Vastu Alliance, Arts Assessor for Arts Queensland, artist of 40 years and writer, and advisor in Maharishi Vedic Science for the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. Anna Bonchek.
Hello, my name's Anna Bonchek. I'm an artist and writer, and I'm also a director of Maharishi Vedic Research Institute, Australia. I'm very happy to be connected with you to celebrate the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment. I'd like to make reference to the Unmanifest Canvas, a book by His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, which covers all aspects of the different arts. In this instance, I'll just make reference to some quotes by Maharishi on the tripartite components of creative art, the visual arts: the artist, the creative process, and the definition of art and its purpose. Now we can think of the artist who's someone who creates objects, performances, presents works or concepts that can beautify, provoke, maybe even question, and narrate a story or indicate something that adds to or awakens and cultures our awareness. Maharishi explains that the artist is one who, quote, while creating stands as a creator, and that status of the creator, however small, takes the vision to a very big creator, with a capital C, of the entire cosmic life. So an artist as a creator, as one who expresses him or herself, tells the whole story of creation. In this definition, Maharishi is equating the artist to the cosmic creator. Now, there are so many different types of art, different ways of creating art, but the most significant art is that which is created from the deepest level of consciousness, from a refined and holistic state of awareness, from the level of total knowledge, the source of life itself. When it's created from this level, art will have more of an eternal value of life. As Maharishi says, a piece of art is just a wave of life, a wave of love, a wave of happiness, a wave of eternity. He goes on to say that if an artist is really living being, infinity, his piece will speak of maximum value of life. Most enlivened will be that piece of art, and as such it will last longer in time. Now it's very important, Maharishi says, that for this outcome, the artist requires a technique to develop their consciousness. The transcendental meditation technique, Maharishi points out, is actually a necessity for the artist. Quote, it is vital for an artist to meditate morning and evening and then come out with some tender strokes of love and happiness. End quote. In this way, the artist can fully develop their heart and fully develop their mind, and then the art will be expressed from that fully developed consciousness. It can, as Maharishi says, whisper a message of love and happiness and cheer up to every heart, to every mind, to every level of consciousness, no matter what, dreaming, sleeping, or waking, or deep rest, or depressed, or whatever, end quote. So this is quite a remarkable outcome for a work of art, to impact someone regardless of their state of consciousness and in any era. So surely we could say this is a new definition of art and a challenge to all us creative people, and the future will determine whether this has been achieved in our era. And we can say that the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment has really set its sights high to achieve just this by glorifying the outer aspect of life through all of the arts, expressing a wave of life, a wave of love, a wave of happiness, and a wave of eternity. And we extend all our best wishes to the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment, for everything that it's doing and for the glorification of life into the future. Jai Gurudev.
With Dr. Bonchek's review of Maharishi's profound insights into art and the creative process, we conclude this first seminar on Arts for Enlightenment. I would like to express appreciation to our panel of speakers who are the most dedicated and knowledgeable in their fields. Special thanks to Dr. Eike Hartmann for joining us and for his great leadership in the area of Maharishi Vedic architecture. To Dr. Lawrence Sheaf for his enlightening paintings and breakthrough research in the visual arts. For Brenda Boozer, the voice of natural law, for her inspiration as a performing artist. To Dr. Peter Westbrook for his dedication as an educator, musician, and musicologist. To Dr. Jacqueline Carr-Phillips for her insights into Russian literature and consciousness. To Dr. David Orme Johnson, artist, psychologist, and pioneering researcher on transcendental meditation, and to Dr. Anna Bonchek for her mastery of Maharishi's lectures on art and culture. And Dr. Swan, thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to share this event with everyone. For more information, including how to join the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment, please go to the contact page on the Academy's website, artsforenlightenment.org. With Maharshi's blessings and with Maharaja's inspiration, it's a great joy that we now have an organization dedicated to raising consciousness in the arts through Maharshi Vedic science, whose goal is heaven on earth. Thank you, and Jai Gurudev.
Thank you, Dr. Miles, and to all the wonderful presenters this evening. This first seminar of the Academy of Arts for Enlightenment has been a profound exposition of the value of the arts for enlightenment. And we'll now conclude the seminar with a musical piece called Recuerdos de la Alhambra, Memories of the Alhambra, which is a work for classical guitar performed by the Linden Trio, of which the flautist is Peter Westbrook, who made a presentation on music in this evening's seminar. Jai Gurudev.